The Srimad Bhagavad Gita Made Easy, a run-through in English, written and narrated by Tavamithram Sarvada. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita Made Easy, a run-through in English by Tavamithram Sarvada, Part 1 of 2, containing an introduction and chapters 1 through 11. Namaste. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दुग्धा गोपालनंदनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धम गीतामृतम महत्. All the Upanishads are like the cows. The one who milks them is Krishna, the cowherd boy. Arjuna is the calf, and men who are wise and pure drink the milk, which is the supreme, immortal nectar of the Gita. That was the fourth of the 9 verses of the Gita Dhyanam, which is a meditation on the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The 9 verses offer salutations to the scripture for the divine knowledge that a seeker can acquire by studying it. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the living book, is one of the greatest divine gifts to mankind. It is an endless source of guidance, motivation, energy and power for everyone, anytime, anywhere, in all situations, and forever. The Gita is certainly not a book of religious codes or commandments, but it is a systematic study of the human mind and other important subjects such as human nature, valor, social responsibility, crisis management, management principles, values, virtues, and of course of the natural law of cause and effect, known as karma. The seeker is free to choose to perceive the scenario of war which forms the backdrop of this scripture, either as a metaphor or take it in a literal sense. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in fact, is a discourse by Krishna, and at the same time is also a discussion between Krishna and Arjuna about an internal spiritual battle against one's own ego. It can be called an externalization in the form of war of perennial inner conflicts. The analogy of war between an army of good people on one side and evil ones on the other calls for the usage of terms such as shooting, fighting, vanquishing enemies, and so on. Such an analogy and the story as a whole greatly helps seekers in being able to relate themselves better with the different characters and the situations in the story. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which are chapters 23 through 40 of the Bhishma Parva of the Mahabharata, is a transcript of the dialogue between Sri Bhagavan Krishna and Arjuna at the battlefield of Kurukshetra as reported to King Dhritarashtra by his charioteer Sanjaya. Many millennia ago, 2 rival families, namely the Pandavas and the Kauravas, fought the epic battle of Mahabharata. Duryodhana, who led the Kauravas, was the evil, greedy and cunning cousin of the Pandavas. He aspired to take over the Pandavas' share of the kingdom. It was the 10th day after the great battle of Mahabharata had begun. The blind king Dhritarashtra received the news about the fall of grandsire Bhishma. Dhritarashtra was shocked. He wanted to know what was going on at the battlefield. Dhritarashtra summoned Sanjaya and asked him to use his power of Divya Drishti, or the ability of remote viewing, and narrate to him what had happened and was happening at the battlefield. Sanjaya began narrating to Dhritarashtra all that took place at Kurukshetra and the entire conversation between Sri Bhagavan Krishna and Arjuna. Both the armies were gathered at the battlefield in the holy plains of Kurukshetra. There were brave and powerful warriors lined up on either side. The entire area was
Sample complete. Ready to continue?